What is good, folks, and welcome back to the Retro View. Avatar Book 2, baby. We are in my absolute favorite section of The Last Airbender. We got the introduction of Toph, we got the introduction of Azula, Zuko alone, the crossroads of destiny, everything building up to just everything hitting the fucking fan. This is my favorite section of The Last Airbender's story. But anyway, I am watching through all of Avatar The Last Airbender. Go check out my previous part in the iCard if you want to, of course. I've got chapters laid out. I'm covering the four main protagonists and the arcs that they go through and the world building for the Avatar world as a whole. Now, I am not looking at Toph in this because she has just been introduced in this season. She doesn't have a big arc to really go over, so I am viewing her more as an extension for other characters like Katara and the world building as a whole. But anyway, let's get into this. Avatar Book 2, Earth. Sage, hit the title. Last we left our little arrow boy, he has finally accepted his position of Avatar and he's setting out to master earthbending. His arc doesn't really begin until the desert, and we all know what goes down there.
Jerk faces.
We've seen Aang mad before, but we have never seen him this angry before outside of the Avatar state, just completely lashing out and blaming everyone for not saving or helping to find Appa, and then he completely loses hope. Without Appa, they're not going to be able to go anywhere or do anything. There's no point anymore. And even when they get out of the desert and he calms down some, he's still very somber. Appa was the last thing connecting him to his culture, and not only that, Appa was Aang's best friend. A bond between the Sky Bison and their nomad is lifelong, and we see just how much that means to Aang. Without Appa, Aang has completely lost hope in everything. He can't save anything or anybody. And even when they get Appa back, there's still that lingering thought in the back of his mind of, maybe I can't handle this. Maybe I can't save everybody. I'm still just a kid. And then he reaches his crossroads. After a season and a half of building up the Avatar state as a massive boost of power, but also a massive risk to everyone around him, Guru Petit agrees to help guide him through his issues in order to master the Avatar state. But the final stage, he has to let go. Not just of his regrets and shame, not just of his fears, he needs to let go of all worldly attachment. But he can't. Dude really wants this water tribe girl. He's not gonna do it. And when it's revealed that she's in danger, he's gotta go save her. Of course, he throws all of that away. All of his preparation to try and become the best Avatar that he can. He throws all of that away for the woman that he loves. And it ends up costing him and the Earth Kingdom.
Want to hear a fucking thing? She is holding this shit down. She is holding it down. Like the absolute goat that she is. I do not want to hear any Katara disrespect. Get that shit out of here.
And speaking of that little water tribe girl, this is the season where she steps up. I don't want to hear nothing about Katara being a bad character. This is where she steps up. The desert shows just how important Katara is to the team. She is the one keeping this all together and stepping up when everybody is ready to give up. She took charge. Get out of here with that. A lady giving birth along the Serpent's Path, she steps up. When someone has to stay behind and help the Earth Generals plan the invasion, she steps the fuck up and tells her brother, no, you go see our dad. He is more important. This is more important to you. She is a great character.
Ever since you joined us, you've been nothing but selfish and unhelpful. What? Look here, Sugar Queen. I gave up everything I had so that I could teach Aang earthbending. So don't you talk to me about being selfish. Sugar Queen?
Well, I never said she was a perfect character. Alright, let's talk about Toph for a second. Her and Katara's feud was such a great inclusion. Those two butting heads during the chase was a great way of introducing both of their flaws as people. Katara, for all of her nurturing nature, she is still a teenager that can make rash decisions or judgment calls about people. and Toph being incredibly stubborn stemming from her need to prove her independence. They have misunderstandings and arguments, but they obviously do care and respect each other as a team. This adds a whole lot to Katara as a character, and flaws make characters a lot more interesting. She's not perfect.
You're not old enough to go to war, Sokka, you know that.
I'm strong, I'm brave, I can fight. Please, Dad.
Being a man is knowing where you're needed the most. And for you right now, that's here protecting your sister.
I don't understand.
Someday you will.
One thing I've noticed on this rewatch is Sokka is such a good character. Man is tragic. Man is going through it right now. He failed to protect Yue in the North Pole, and he has become a lot more protective of Suki now. We see just how much that regret weighs on him. Dude is constantly reminded of his failure every time the sun goes down. He is also a lot more proactive in this season, figuring out a way to take down the drill from the inside, piecing together the conspiracy of Ba Sing Se, in the entire plan to invade the Fire Nation being kickstarted by him. This is where Sokka is coming into his own, and we haven't even gotten to the sword episode yet in season 3. And when we finally meet his dad, we finally get to the heart of Sokka's entire character. At the end of the day, he is just a boy that wants to prove himself. He wants to prove how much of a man he is, and he wants to prove himself as a warrior, that he is worthy of standing side by side with his dad and the other warriors of their tribe. And it's just so heartfelt. Sokka is such an underrated character, and this season is doing such a good job of building more and more, leading to his sword episode.
Drink cactus juice. It'll quench you. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest.
Also, this season gave us my boy tripping on cactus juice. All I'm saying, it looks pretty quenchable. And now we are at the Prince. When we last left him, he was fully on the run from the Fire Nation as his sister Azula takes on the task of hunting him and the Avatar down. Now that he is fully cut off from the Fire Nation, he is forced to see the effects of the 100-Year War from the ground level. And he is horrified and sympathetic towards the refugees and the others that he has seen along his journey, but he is still resentful for his current position. He has truly hit rock bottom, and this is where his confliction really starts to set in between the Fire Nation's teachings and just wanting to be loved by his father, and also Iroh's teachings and him wanting to be a good person like how his mother would want. To the point where the mere act of setting Appa free is enough to send this man spiraling down an existential crisis. Man really did one good thing, and now he is questioning his entire existence. And after everything Zuko has seen and the effects his country has had on the entire world, it seems that our exiled prince might finally be on the path towards the light. But he just can't help himself. He wants his father's love, choosing to side with Azula and help her take out the Avatar, leaving Iroh to be arrested. He just couldn't let it go. And speaking of Azula, her role in his arc was phenomenal. It was to break Zuko down. She was the prodigy that he was meant to be, and his struggles to compete only added further fuel to his need to prove himself to the Fire Lord. It adds further context to Zuko's backstory, especially his relationship with his mother, and Azula constantly pestering this man, knowing how to manipulate him and play him against himself and Iroh for her own benefit. It just adds even more fuel to his inferiority complex. She is such a well-written character, but that's a villain vibes for another day. Editor Sage here, just adding a bit more because I forgot a few things in the actual video. One of the key things being Zuko's time as a freedom fighter with Jet, helping him out, helping out the people in the refugee ship that they were on heading to Ba Sing Se, kind of sort of out of remembrance for the family that he met in Zuko alone. I think that was a great inclusion, and especially with how that dynamic turned out, it worked very well in helping for Zuko's downward spiral, but also characterizing him a bit more as he's not an entirely bad person. He is a good person at heart, he's just had a lot of bad luck.
See, this whole swamp is actually just one tree spread out over miles. Branches spread and sink and take root and then spread some more. One big living organism, just like the entire world.
Ancient libraries and trading cultures hidden in the desert, the big stages of the Earth Rumble, to the spaghetti westerns of Zuko alone in the chase, a guru hidden in the mountains, a former empire, and even a secret tunnel. This world and this lore has been expanded even further since the last season, and I've already went into detail about the City of Secrets in a previous video, Omashu being taken over by the Fire Nation, the refugee crisis, the build-up to the White Lotus. This season has come in swinging with so much interesting aspects going on in the world as a whole. This season elaborates even further on the concept of bending as a whole. Aang's struggle to grasp earthbending comes from his very nature. Earth is the element of substance. You have to have a will as strong as stone in order to will it into motion. It is the most straightforward of elements, which is completely antithetical to Aang's go-with-the-flow nature that made waterbending come so easily to him. There is no way around it. You have to face the rock head-on in order to make it move. This going completely against Aang's nature, being so complementary to Toph's because of her stubbornness. You gotta be straightforward with it. There is no other way around it. It is what it is. You have to be stubborn enough to make it move. On the flip side, Zuko struggled to learn lightning bending stemming from his own internal turmoil, making it literally blow up in his face. His feelings of shame, of inferiority, of hatred, all of this making it impossible for him to use lightning bending without it going off in his face. Bending was explored a lot more in this season with Toph's very existence. Someone whose disability was an advantage to her as a bender. With her lack of sight, she compensated for this by developing the seismic sense. She can notice minute details that others can't, and because of that, she is able to bend circles around those with so much more experience than her, even developing a style of bending that many thought was impossible, because she is able to see the details that others couldn't. That elements are everywhere and we are all connected, whether you see it or not. I think the Crossroads of Destiny is the best example of why I hold Season 2 in such a high regard. The blending of heartfelt emotional character progression, fascinating world building, intriguing antagonists adding more to our heroes, and a dire final act where our heroes fail and barely even make it out alive, leaving us in an even messier position as we head towards the final season of the show, which I will look at next time on the Retro View. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to it before the year ends. That is a sage promise. But anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the episode today, and if you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit me down in the comments and let me know what was your favorite aspect of Season 2 of Avatar. I truly want to know. But for now, I must bid you all adieu, goodbye, good night, happy holidays, sage out.
Shiny teeth that twinkle just like the stars in space. A shiny teeth that sparkle